2 of the following videos are true, while the other one is trash. Can you spot the fake? Season 4, Episode 2. Round 1, let's begin. First, take a cork with a hole drilled through it and firmly place it on the nozzle of an air compressor blowgun attachment. Then firmly place a funnel on the cork. Now you can squeeze the handle and compressed air shoots out. If you place the funnel over a tennis ball like this, you can pull the trigger to release compressed air and the tennis ball can be picked up off the table. If you take a thin, sharp knife and a potato, you can set the potato down, stab it, and then pick up the potato with the knife. If you then swing a hammer and hit the back of the knife, the kinetic energy from the hammer will be abruptly transferred through the rigid knife to the potato, causing the potato to fall off the knife. And here's what that looks like in practice. Take a black balloon and a clear balloon and stuff the black balloon inside the clear one. Then blow up the black balloon and tie it so that it stays inflated. Next, blow more air into the clear balloon so that there's room for the black balloon to move around inside. Next, go outside on a sunny day and take a magnifying glass that can be used to concentrate light. The black balloon is much better at absorbing light than the clear balloon, so by focusing the light on the black balloon, you can pop it while it's inside, without causing the outer clear balloon to pop. You've now seen all 3 videos, and it's time to pause to vote in the comments for which one you thought was fake. If you noticed this jump cut right here and thought this demo was fake, well, nice try, but this is totally legit. I did add a jump cut with a small zoom, but that doesn't change the fact that you can use a funnel and compressed air to pick up a ball like this, and it's a great demonstration of Bernoulli's principle. As the compressed air constricts around the sides of the ball as it exits, the air has to move faster, resulting in regions of lower pressure compared to the surroundings. That pressure imbalance creates the net force that lifts up the ball, and this is such an awesome and counterintuitive demo that I don't blame you if you thought I replaced the compressed air with a vacuum or something. You also can pop a black balloon inside a clear balloon without damaging the clear one. That means hitting a knife that's holding a potato with the hammer does not cause the potato to fall off. The knife is thin and sharp, and the potato has a lot of inertia. So whacking the knife simply makes the knife slice through the potato, causing the potato to rise on the knife in what I would describe as sort of a mini potato elevator. I made the potato fall off by supergluing a small piece of wood to the knife while you weren't looking. This piece of wood is too large and can't just slice through the potato like the knife does. So it actually does transfer a large force to the potato, causing it to fall off abruptly. Here's a quick recap to help you follow before moving on to the next round. If you missed that one, don't worry, it's time for round 2. If you take a flexible plastic tube with corrugations like this, you can swing it around and it makes a pretty cool but also kind of annoying noise. However, if you take a plastic bag and cover the base of the tube like this, now when you swing it around, the sound is much deeper and more soothing in my opinion. This device is a TEC, which stands for thermoelectric cooler. If you provide power to this device and reject enough heat using heat sinks and fans, one side will get quite hot while the other side will get cold. You can use that cold side to refrigerate things, and these are what many portable electric coolers use. However, if instead I wanted to create electricity using this device, I can flip it and use something hot and something cold with the TEC, and that will produce electricity. In order to do that, I need to wire 2 of these DECs together in series and connect them to an LED. I soldered everything together, and here's the complete circuit. I taped down some of the wire to hopefully keep everything secure as I move on to the next part, which is providing something hot and cold to each side of both TECs. Since I need access to both sides, I'm propping them up here using some spare heat sinks, but that's their only purpose. I'll use candles to provide heat to the hot side, and for the cold side, I'll use some ice cubes. Right when I place the ice cubes down, you briefly see that the LED gets really bright, although then it dims down quite a bit, so I had to turn off the light so you could see it better. This plant is called a Mimosa pudica, aka a touch-me-not plant. If you do the unthinkable and actually touch it like I'm doing here, you see that the plant moves and closes up almost immediately. You've now seen all 3 videos, and it's time to pause to vote in the comments for which one you thought was fake. It's true that thermoelectric coolers can be used to light up an LED with a large enough temperature difference like this. And placing a plastic bag over the base of this tube also... Oh wait, no it doesn't. Here's what it actually sounds like. It doesn't make any musical noise at all. This sound tube works because the faster spinning end causes air to be pulled through the tube, and that air bumping into the corrugations on the tube as it passes through creates the vibrations that produce the musical sound. So blocking the opening prevents that entire airflow, resulting in no musical notes. To make the sound deeper, I just use the fact that pitch is determined by the frequency of a sound wave. So by slowing down the original clip and its audio, I can create different pitches to overlay on the plastic bag clip, as you can hear here. So yes, that means a touch me not plant like this does move when touched. Here's a quick recap to help you follow before moving on to the next round. Now it's time for the final round, round 3. First, take a paperclip and bend it to open it up like this. Then take the smaller side and bend it once more to make a tiny loop. Do this again with the other paperclip so you have 2 nearly identical ones. Next, tape one paperclip to the negative terminal of a AA battery, making sure there's solid metal on metal contact. Then tape the other paperclip to the positive terminal. Next, to prop this device upright on a table, I used a small piece of plasticine. Next, take some enameled copper wire and wrap it around something small and cylindrical, like another battery, and do this many times until you've made a coil. To make sure this coil stays tight, take the end of the wire and wrap it around the coil a few times. Do that again with the other side. When done correctly, the wire should be sticking out on opposite sides of the coil like this. Then take some fine grit sandpaper and rub both wire ends to remove the enamel. Importantly though, only sand off one side when you do this. When done correctly, one side will look bare and the other side will have visible signs of the enamel. Lastly, take some neodymium magnets and place them on the center of the battery facing upwards. Now when you place the coil through each paperclip loop and let go, you've successfully made a mini motor and the coil will spin. If you take a standard 5 milliwatt red laser pointer like the kind used for presentations, you might think it's relatively safe and won't start a fire. But if you aim it directly at the tip of a standard match from very close range, you can light it, as you can see here. Last time I showed that a bimetallic strip will always bend the same way when it's heated, regardless of which direction the heat is applied from. That's because it's made of 2 different metal alloys that expand by differing amounts when heated. However, if you take that same bimetallic strip and cool it down by placing it in the freezer, it will now bend in the opposite direction, which is to the right, since both metals also shrink by differing amounts when cooled. You've seen all 3 videos, pause to vote in the comments which one you thought was fake. This in fact was a real way to make a mini motor. When the bare wire is in contact with the paper clips, the circuit is complete, and current running through the coil produces a magnetic field, which I'll show as a magnet here. That magnet, so to speak, wants to align itself with the permanent magnet below, so it rotates to try to do so. As it's rotating though, the circuit will disconnect because half of the wire ends have that insulating enamel. And without the complete circuit, the wire doesn't act like a magnet anymore and coasts by what would have been the point of alignment. Once it rotates enough, the bare wire will once again touch the paper clips, completing the circuit, and the coil experiences that torque again. This cycle happening over and over again allows the motor to spin continuously. When I picked it up, it happened to become even more balanced and really picked up some speed. This bimetallic strip also does bend the opposite way when cooled compared to when it's heated. That means a regular 5 milliwatt red laser pointer isn't nearly strong enough to light a match, at least not without special matches or magnification. I actually attached a paper clip behind the match, making sure it was touching the match tip. Then I recorded one clip aiming the laser at the match and a separate shot placing my induction heater over the match and paper clip. As you've seen before, this induction heater can heat magnetic and conductive objects to really hot temperatures very quickly. So by hovering it over the paperclip briefly before pulling out, I made it far enough away from the match just in time as it was igniting, which allowed me to somewhat easily mask out the induction heater. Funny enough, I feel like even just this induction heater clip looks pretty fake, even though it's not. I hope you enjoyed these rounds. There was no sponsor on this episode, so if you want to directly support the making of more, I'd love for you to like and share this video with anyone who might enjoy it. I also have a Buy Me a Coffee page, which is set up for one-time donations that don't require an account. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you next time.